What's up, everybody? This is Edward back with another video. Happy holidays, including Thanksgiving. I definitely know the history of Thanksgiving, but I'm not gonna be too woke for bullshit. It is what it is. So whatever. But here's the deal. So I wanted to pop this video up because for a while now, for a couple of months, there's been these kind of, I don't want to say pseudo or anything like that. There's been these like declarations when it comes to red pill, when it comes to red pill, blue pill, black pill, whatever, man. As far as folks, folks that I respect, that have kind of, let's just say distance, they're distancing themselves. And I want to talk about it. I want to have a conversation about it. I use Thanksgiving really as a lot like my birthday. The month of November for me, my birthday is in the beginning of the month. It is November 2nd. And I use things like Thanksgiving. It's a month of reflection for me. I try to do a little bit fasting. I need to get better at that, but I always try to put myself in kind of a month where I'm reflecting on what happened the previous year. It's kind of like for corporations, on September is their fiscal year. It's kind of like how that is for me. Because it allows me to do November, December, January, critical months that can really set you up to have a strong, like, new year. Obviously the month of the new year and the 2 months that are leading up to the new year. So, like, for example, if I were to look at, like, certain ways that I get paid, I have the things I get paid on my other stuff. Then I also have for my job, I get paid 3 times. So it's kind of like a good way to kind of plan, to really accelerate and railgun what you're trying to do. Obviously your money goes a little bit further because of things like Black Friday, holidays. So if you have some electronics or things you're trying to tool up, like right now I'm actually about to go get a Christmas present. Well, on the low, it's something that's gonna be self-serving, but still, because my brother wants to give my mom a TV. So I'm gonna go. So they got a TV for like $200 for a 58 4K. So I'm gonna get that, and then on the low, me and my 3 brothers gonna split that. So it's gonna. So basically, I'm getting her TV, which is a 55-inch. So I'm getting that for like, $75. So it's kind of self-serving, but it is what it is. It's so stuff shit like that, right? Hopefully I can use that as like a backdrop if I start doing more live videos and stuff like that. So a lot of stuff I plan on using that for. But anyway, the point is, I'm going to have this conversation. I've been talking about a little bit in the background on some of my videos, but I'm going to really go after this. So this is not going to be a big video. So shout out to Glenn and Cameron. He has a video that's saying, I am not Red Pill, or I am not MGTOW. And I haven't listened to that video, but it's probably in the same line of the other videos he's made regarding this information. This video is not going to be about me explaining what something is or explaining the nuances. Quite frankly, I'm not doing that. No, because he knows what it is. I know what it is. Same thing, like Jason Black has made a lot of these hits at like Red Pill, stating for different reasons, saying Red Pill is just like what black feminism is. The back and forth of what something is and is not, really, the only thing I'm going to comment on that is this. It is the quote-unquote black manosphere in general's obligation to, if they want to be perceived in a certain type of way, that is on people that are in the black manosphere, regardless of what that is, because it's not just Red Pill. It's broader than that. And whatever sectors, to basically create the content that's necessary to actually bring people in. And when I say bring people in, actually fill people in on what it is, what it's about, the history of it. This is one thing I've talked about with Gab too, because like how Gab kind of perceived the information. And I see a lot of that in Rex and other people where they perceive this information and have like this emotional response, because they don't really know what it is. Some stuff makes sense, some say they don't, know if it's bullshit or whatever. And this is why, I've heard O'Shea say this, the written word is very important. It's not just everything something you can do it in video as far as PowerPoint presentations, but there needs to be something there. Whether it's me to do that or somebody else to do that, I don't know. But, and to be fair, the dude that helped found M-More has done that. The dude that helped found SYSBM has tried to do that. It's kind of a public relations issue. and it's also an issue as to how the audience responds to certain things, because it's really, so it is what it is, but it's scattered. I've always said that this is kind of the negative part of not being like organized in any kind of loose way, because there is no like phalanx to kind of establish what kind of game rules are with certain things. So that's as far as I'm gonna go with that. So there is a need for that there, and that's as far as I'm gonna go with that. But really, with this video, I want to make it about is more values versus labels. And let me take it out of, I hope y'all had some good food, had some good times, didn't cuss out none of the family or anything like that, whatever. So we're gonna get into this. So, let's take this in a political direction or a religious direction first, because I want to make my point outside of what is generally going to be a main part of the organization, the topic. So if you take politics, for example, there's a difference between being a Republican and being a conservative. Even though you can argue those are broad terms, but those are two different terms. Republican is a political term, a conservative is more of a cultural or an ideological term. Even though those both can be broad, because there's different, ideologies. Same thing with a Democrat or a liberal. You can't be a liberal Republican. You can be a conservative Democrat. I know a lot of people don't tell you that, but you can be, and they do exist in the party. And the point of me saying that is same thing with fucking libertarians, same thing with even people in the Green Party. The point is, the question is, what are the conservative party? This is between the conservative part and the Republican part. Conservative speaks more to your values, and liberal speaks more to what your values are. Now, even within any of these things, you can be conservative on certain points and liberal on other points. But usually, if you're like a 8 to 2 ratio conservative, then you're a conservative that has a couple of points you're liberal on. Same thing. Like, for instance, a lot of your libertarians are usually liberal, but they're the only thing, but they're liberal on certain things, but they're conservative on others. So I'm not going to go into all of the nuances of all these things. Just know that they exist. And the point is, it comes down to, at the end of the day, what values did you have? Usually when I point people, you hear me mention people, mention certain people, we're going to focus on the men. It's because they share certain values, And even though they may be known for certain things on certain points and topics, it's usually they're on the same page on these things, even though they don't deal with each other. Now, Glendon has made a couple of videos, not so much responding to BGS, but more add-ons to add to the conversation. Because when people hear response, they usually hear rebuttals, and he hasn't really done that. And BGS has mentioned Glendon Cameron a couple of times as well. Man, I'm one of the main ones that kind of link that, because, these are the two people I look at. And BGS is known for a more global political guy, global politics. And Glenn is more known for economics, mainly sales and stuff, but everything. Shout out, he's doing by the way, he's doing a personal finance channel that I will be putting in my, if any of you all want to get your personal finance shit up, I think it's a very good compliment to, it is a very good compliment to Erica Shanta Williams' older stuff as well. I am telling you, if you go over there, it is a channel for personal finance. So that is the topic. That is therefore what the fuck you talk about and discuss it. Do not go over there and make me look like an idiot by talking about any other bullshit or disagreeing with shit that you don't fucking know. He has more money than most of y'all. So therefore, clearly, if you go over there, learn how to make money, shut the fuck up, listen, ask insightful questions. That's what I do, and that's what y'all should do. And most of y'all that listen to me, I don't even have to say that. I just want to put that on the record. Now, going back to those two, there are things, when you hear BGS put out the dark news and put out a lot of the stuff that he puts out, I've heard very similar things that Glennon has said as far as where things are going. Even the thing about how even though race is still a class hierarchy, but we're going more to a traditional class hierarchy based on money, and both of them have said that. It's just Glennon goes into more about the actual how to get your money right, at a kind of an advanced, it's an advanced level. You got to be kind of making money to be and get in a position where you're making money. He provides you ways to do that with some of his products, the 2500, 30 days, 2500, stuff like that. But you got to be somebody that's in motion and really take advantage of what he's talking about. You can't be somebody that's tire kicking or kind of trying to figure, you ain't got your mind right, so to speak, right? That's why you hear me really mention Erica more. Because Erica's more about for people that's kind of in the tire kicking. They need to kind of get their mind right to get in the point where they're in motion. The point is, you got two different guys, even though that's in the same kind of age range, and they're saying a lot of the same things. So it lets you know that there's different people saying the same thing, even though they're different environments within the country, and they may be known for different things. But the point is, it's values. So that's what you usually see me reference. So when you look at it from a political side, it is, what are the values? So I can listen to somebody that's a Democrat or a Republican, but if they generally share the same values, about the things that I value, I'm not even gonna put what that is. Y'all should know, then this is the stuff that I'm gonna gravitate to, because the people are a reflection of the values. I have the values first, and the people are a reflection of that I listen to. And I've already given examples as to why I do that. Glennon's very good about giving the game. BGS is very good about projecting a lot of trends that's going on. And by the way, Glennon's good at doing that too. Shout out to the Bitcoin thing. It's just he focuses more on economics with that. So the point is, with the video, and I'll put it on my community tab, when it comes to when people say, and it's not just him, Jason Black is another one, and he's another economics guy. But he's the difference between him and Glennon. He's very, very pro-black. Not saying Glennon is not pro-black, but that's like the main thing you hear Jason Black talk about, obviously. But he also he has the thing called the business. So that's the stuff that's kind of like keeping it 100, right? And same thing with Tariq, because Tariq has a business element. So when you look at all these, and I can mention people like Myron Golden, these are different people that they have different lanes, different niches, but a lot of times you hear kind of the same things. And that lets you, it's not about, you want to get an echo chamber, but it lets you know when you hear different people that have money, have capital, or have a lot of experience or wisdom, and they know what they're talking about, saying similar things, that should be a fucking indication to you, especially when you're younger. That should be an indication to you of something, patterns. But getting back to bringing this back to the red pill, MGTOW, and all of that. Here's the thing. You're gonna see, because before people act, and when I say submit, I'm mainly talking about the feminists and stuff. Before they really submit to shit like the diesel era and stuff like that. And by the way, Glennon doesn't call it the diesel era, but there's a reason why he's a game first, having your mind right, not depending on money to get a woman, because you need money and a game, but you need game. And then he's doing the sugar baby thing, because it's getting too easy now on that side. And he still believes in game first, but you can't just leave that wide open, where it's that's just something that's a very effective thing in your toolkit. Don't make it be a crutch, but there's even game in doing that, because that just gives you more power, because it gives you more power and options. So why would you leave something like that on the table? Because again, I've always said thirst management is really something a guy needs to do. This is why. So how you build your rotation depends, because you even when it comes to tricking, you got to have game about doing it. There's such a thing as like a simp trick. And then, and by the way, before that, Mr. Research used to say that all the time, giving him credit, and people used to get mad at him. But anyway, there is a simp where they just give their money away over some stupid stuff. You see a lot of these guys in the strip club giving their last check away for stupid stuff like that. And then there's folks that are a little bit more strategic about that sort of thing, and that requires a little bit of game to even do. So again, it's about values, and that's where a lot of people get messed up in the manosphere. Is it's like they're having these conversations, but they're not anchored to anything. And I'm talking about like a lot of the audience. So when you hear somebody say a certain thing, rather than trying to understand where they're coming from, people have this thing where they have this rabbit dog thing. And I think that's kind of a big reason why the manosphere and stuff kind of create a bad taste, and not just his mouth, but a lot of people's mouths unnecessarily. And it's really unfortunate, because these are people that can add really great value. And I put this mainly on the manosphere, and this needs to be put mainly on black men, because black men are the manosphere. And it should have been a lot of, people of influence, and I'm not trying to tell them what they should do, but really should have been checking folks to really say, this is a person of value, this is a person respected. If you don't like what they're saying, then you don't got to go over there. But that trolling shit needs to stop. Now, with that being said, there's a lot of times black men get blamed for what a lot of white men do. So a lot of times people, MGTOW is more associated with white men than black men. And that's another thing that keeps happening too, where a lot of times it be white boys that do this ultra trolling shit, and then a lot of times it's like that gets blanketed, where really the black manosphere and the white manosphere are two completely different things. But that's besides the point. The point here though is this: I really don't give a shit about labels. Like, when I look at somebody, I don't look at, are they red pill, and you shouldn't either. And when I say you, I'm talking about people that's listening and making this video. I don't look at, is somebody red pill, is somebody MGTOW, is somebody this or that. I don't look for somebody to put that stuff out there. This is why I've always found it interesting, and I'm not gonna say goofy, because people they can do what they want to do. But when people say this they have a username, they say this MGTOW, or they have this this SY. I mean, you can do that. I'm not saying to not do that. I'm not. BGS it more. So I'm not saying to not do that. Clearly, that's because that's what his channel is geared towards. But I'm talking about for people that are really not even content creators, where they'll have these these usernames is really based on, it's like declaring what it is, kind of like you're wearing your card carrying thing. And I'm like, it is what it is. I put, I know what I think, I know what it is, and I can articulate those things very well as I need to. Like, you see my name is Edward Anderson. It's actually my middle name and my last name. Edward is something I don't use, except for this. So you won't really find that. So if somebody ever really tried to dox me, I don't use Edward on anything, other than like actual government stuff. So the reality of the situation is, you won't see that on the internet in any other way, unless you really, really look. But the point is, when you hear people say, I'm not red pill, I'm not MGTOW, whether it's Glendon or Jason Black, okay, that's fine, and they have every right to say that, and there's no issue with that, because you got to take all, like when people say they're red pill, you got to take all of what people say that comes with that. And especially if you're trying to sell products and services, the red pill brand, it's not the greatest of brands. It's really not. It just isn't, and that's absolutely true. And it's like, now I have to explain something that I'm not even really invested in, and why would I do that? And that makes absolute sense. But at the same time, you look at what people's values are, and this is not no slick shit to say, oh, well, he has red pill values. That's not what I'm saying. I mean, when you look at disruptive men, look, here's the thing: what most black men value above everything else, really, that is quote unquote red pill, we're talking about common sense, folks. And this is what I was trying to tell Zeus. This is exactly what I was trying to tell Zeus when I was on there, and he didn't want to hear that, even though he's like 51 years old. This is the type of thing I was trying to tell him. Is look, the main thing black men value, I'm talking about black men that's got some fucking sense. I'm not talking about motherfuckers that are out here and it's like they want to be a part of the club and the collective. They're not out here really doing shit. And I'm not, it is what it is. I'm not saying, you got knuckleheads and everything. But for people that's on some law of averages of common sense, the real thing that they value is autonomy. If I had to distill it down to one word, I would say autonomy. And a lot of black men really operate, shout out to Marcus A. Brown, they operate more on a conservative libertarian standpoint. If I had to say, okay, for the upper average, I'm talking about the productive black men in the manosphere. I'm talking about whether it's audience member, contributors, you know who you are, whether you're that or not. I'm not here to judge anybody. That's what it is. And then what we do is we look for people to reflect that. This is why you hear me promote, when I do promote Jason Black, for the most part, I promote his business channel, the business. Because I know that's what you all really want to hear. When it comes to the white supremacy, I mean, people know what it is, people know what it's about, but people know what it's about, but people ain't trying to hear that all the time, every time, because we have guys that are not necessarily like trying to run away from black women, but they don't want to be legislated as to who they tie their destiny with. Now, I tell people, just make sure you're not putting people on a pedestal and being goofy, which is, again, Glendon never does that. First thing he says about, he has a thing, how to date white women in 2018, do not fetishize them, do not call them snow bunnies and shit. So the point is, I look for what you all want. Some of y'all is reflective. What's the best information I think that's for you? And then the people that have the values that really have those things, and they're actually talking to that stuff. And especially can get you to where you want to go. Doesn't fucking matter if somebody wants to say they're red pill, they're Igmore, they're ADOS, not ADOS. Where people are coming from some things. So this is where you hear me mention the ADOS thing, the EBA thing, the Igmore thing, to say, okay, so this is what the concern is from one group to another. But ultimately, it is the values. And quite frankly, it should be something that needs to be said. It should be something that's known. Even unless you're like under 23, like, and most of my audience is actually in the 25 to my age range, but I do have a lot more younger folks than I thought, which is good. That's actually good. That's really good, because there's a lot of stuff that if it's in your head, the stuff that I'm not saying to take what I say as the gospel. I'm not. You need to take what I'm saying and look and seeing if it applies to your own personal situation, or if it could. And the stuff that, when it comes to what I'm trying to do with this classic black men, if you're like in your under 25, it's stuff that really you need to hear from other brothers. It's really going to at least, give you the opportunity to be really 10x, especially since people know what stuff is kind of going. So that's really the main thing I want to talk about. Because I know some people may get, I've sent people over there to Disruptive Mail, and I think that's one of the best. I mean, honestly, Glendon should have a lot more subscribers than he does. Man, honestly, this information he puts out there should be Patreon. That's how good it is. And this is somebody that knows a lot of that knows where a lot of information is, and knows what's current and what's actually useful, whether it's black, white, or otherwise. So my point is, I want to let y'all know. And let's be clear, I ain't even seen the video. I'm gonna surprise see it after I do the hangout. I actually get off of this. But that's why I'm not really speaking of what he said in the video. I'm speaking of what he said previously. But y'all do not get triggered about he declaring something. At the end of the day, man, y'all know the fuckery that can be when it comes to red pill and all that stuff. And a lot of times people have this thing where they feel like they have to protect something and not give people a right to kind of distance themselves away and stuff like that. And most people that's gone over there, y'all got some sense. But, he has a brand, and his brand, in my opinion, and this is my opinion because it's not my brand, is about autonomy. It's about you doing the best that you can do, and you reaping the best rewards that, not only this world, but this country, but this world can really offer. And then, obviously networking people is a part of that, but that's what it's about. That's why I see when I see him. That's why, and he tells you the truth unapologetically. And a lot of people are not telling you the truth unapologetically. A lot, and his background actually shows that he's somebody that's actually done it. Military, homeless, all that stuff. He's been through. There ain't somebody that doesn't understand. But just because somebody doesn't understand it, does understand, doesn't mean they got to tell you they understand all the time. That should be air apparent in what they're saying. And a lot of times, and this is the same thing that happens with BTS, a lot of times you have people that they want to challenge shit just for the sake of challenging shit. Or they get emotional over shit. With what's it called? And quite frankly, Hotep get mad at BTS for the shit he say. And you got to realize, in the black community, and here's the thing, Disruptive Male is not for black men only at all. It is for all men. And a lot of times, I know he don't want to just say it like that, but that's what he's trying to tell people that. And it should be, because everything doesn't have to be blackity black. It doesn't. I mean, it should be just enough that he's a black man and he has had a black experience to a certain. I mean, some things he's had a black experience to, and other things he's he's performed his way completely out of that. I don't need, a lot of people, it's like they want extra shit that they don't need. So when, and so why else am I saying this too? Because here's the thing, and let's keep this all the way real. When I ask most people what is red pill means different things to different people. So this is why I'm coming back down to the values thing. To a lot of black men, red pill means different things than what white men it means. Because we're in a completely different situation than they're in. I'm not talking about from a racial standpoint. I'm just talking about a standpoint when it comes to our women. Like, for instance, a lot of people will say, no matter what Glendon Cameron says, Glendon is somebody that he doesn't like say black women is bad or anything. But if you look at that Patterson situation, Glendon, it says he's not culturally compatible with most black women. It doesn't mean he had the game to get them. He can get a date with any black woman he pretty much wants. Pretty much wants. Lawyer, whatever, 92s, 87s, 92s, because he doesn't date broke women, so it's mainly 92s. But in the end of the day, he's not culturally compatible with them. Meaning, they want to do what the fuck they want to do. That bulldog attitude shit that Patterson was talking about is something. It's not even something you've heard his videos. He say it's something that the masculine energy you have to project to control that shit is, quite frankly, outside of the norm of what men really want to promote. And even though Glendon has the ability to do that, why would you spend? It's like saying, okay, I have a supercar. What's that in GDR, the Nissan? That's like 90,000. And it has the same performance as $180,000 car. Looks good. Why would I spend more money for the same car? Why would you do that? That makes no sense. And that's what it is when it comes to masculine energy. When women always say, I gotta be controlled, I gotta be checked, I gotta be, like, why? Like, are you an animal? These are the same motherfuckers that will say, yo, you can't hit, a real man wouldn't hit a woman. So how the fuck do you check a woman? Look, here's the thing. Verbal checking women is not effective if there is no threat that you may take it to a next level. Now, usually what happens is if a man is big enough, it's just implied. But real talk, you know what I'm saying? So my thing is, I understand holding a masculine frame and holding control, but when it gets to the point, it also gets to a point where you got to start vetting women. And he's one of the ones that, he's only ones that really talk about cultural compatibility other than me. And that's a big thing with a lot of guys. I know I mentioned Clutch a lot, but that's the same thing with Clutch. It's a cultural compatibility. It has nothing to do with your manhood. It's that, no, I prefer you all operate with a certain type of culture, these cultural norms. And we talked about this when BGS was on my stuff. When we were talking about Asians, how even Asians, a lot of times Asians, we gotta kind of let them know it's okay to not ask me for shit all the fucking time. Now, if you're dealing with Asians that are more Western, then it's cool. This is why Latinas, quite frankly, work with a lot of black men, because they are in that kind of parameter kind of thing, where it is, it ain't nothing that really needs to be done. And that's why you see a lot of that. But anyway, my point is, it's values. It's values. Like for instance, like I said, red pill, the fact that folks say, oh, well, the fact, it's not even that you can even have the option to interracially date, or people say that that's what they do more than the other thing. And keep in mind, he does have a kid with a black woman. So let's stop playing games. And he was married to a black woman. So let's stop playing games. I just want to put that out there and make the record clear. But my point is, that alone in the black community is radical and red pill. That alone, expanding your options as a black man at alone. Now, I'm not saying he speaks to everybody, but what I'm saying is, from how a black man would perceive it, that alone is red pill. And this is what I'm talking about when I'm talking about values. Hell, not being married as a black man, a lot of times, never being married. Like, it's one thing if you are married and not married, but I'm saying not being married is technically red pill. If you say you don't want to get married. That's red pill in general, but even with black people, so my point is just, so it's not, a lot of times people forget the nuances and stuff. And I think, Kobe was asking things about black pill and blue. Another reason I did this video, because Kobe's 21 and he's asking about black pill, blue pill, all this other stuff. And he was asking these questions, and they're good questions. He's 21. And I gotta remember that. My youngest brother is 23. So he asked for a Rolodex. Fuck, I gotta see if I can get that shit. But so these are questions, and so the question is, where can I say? I mean, I'm not gonna explain shit all the time. My thing is, I want to say, here's a video, watch it, and it's basically a cliff notes. SWP used to be good at that shit, and SWP's channels have since been wiped. So there needs to be a replacement or other videos to kind of like a playlist to kind of break down. This is what this is, and it's basic, and give people the game, so to speak. But my point is, look for the values and what those values are and why they are. Because the labels don't mean shit. The labels change. Mr. Research said that what was considered red pill was considered bachelorism a long time ago when Hugh Hefner was alive. That I'm gonna be a bachelor. And you see that in Leonardo DiCaprio. You see that like in George Clooney, a lot of these guys that didn't get married. And now you're starting to see women try to shame men. You see that in even Keanu Reeves. And you see men trying to, notice how I ain't mentioned no black men in that, just to show you how wide scope it is. And now you're seeing women starting to shame men into that because they don't, they're upset because they're seeing a critical mass of that starting to take shape. So my point is, the arguments over labels, because I know people will get triggered by that, is dumb. And sometimes you have to declare, look, this label is not me. I am me and I represent my thing. And that makes sense because disruptive male is what he defines it to be. It's about being unapologetically masculine and seeing the environment. Here's the biggest thing why, I like Glendon Cameron's content on the female side. Number one, it's actionable. His content is the most actionable, like to the stories and the stuff that he says serves the actionableness of what he's telling you to do in other videos. That's number one. More actionable than anything else anybody else is saying. Number two, a lot of it is pretty original. But as far as using internet marketing tactics and then merging the sales, I haven't seen anybody do that. Number three, it's direct. And it speaks to direct dating first, which is, I think, the thing that dudes need to master the most. And he has said that, he is he agrees with mode one, but it's just applied in the way he applies it. And number four, it really speaks to not becoming a product of your environment, but making your environment ultimately a product of you at its apex. But really, it's just about basically being able to master the environment. It's a lot of what I look at when I see BGS's original picture, when he had the thing where it's like the thing with the bow and arrow, and people just a man just being a master of his environment, not necessarily conquering it to the point where you're terraforming it to you, but at least you've mastered the ability to navigate an environment. We're not just talking about physical, we're talking about social environments, because social skills is not talked about in the manosphere, even though everybody wants to talk about game. And it's talking about and just the different levels, whether it's the physical environment, obviously social environment, the economic environment, seeing the trends, seeing the patterns. BGS talks about that a lot, even though, like I said, BGS is not talking about economic in an actionable sense. He talks about more the macroeconomic kind of stuff from a socio-political standpoint, which kind of goes well with it, but with the context. But anyway, the point is those are the values that disruptive man brand means to me. So when people say, like, when people talk about with the red pill thing, you're gonna see a lot of people distance themselves from red pill. To be honest with you, like, I'm not gonna say I don't consider myself quote unquote red pill, but I'm not somebody that says marriage, I will never get married. I'm just somebody that says the laws need to change. And I also am somebody that says I want to be absolutely prepared to get married. And when I say prepared, I mean with the paperwork, which is something Glendon speaks to. I remember when I called Steve the Dean, and Steve the Dean basically said, I called him on O'Shea's channel. He basically called me a bitch because I said I had concerns about marriage, and And the concerns that I had in my head was really the paperwork concerns. Like, what happens if it goes bad? Because you know it does go bad. How do you maintain your masculine frame in a marriage when a woman knows you can just blow everything up? I don't give a fuck about how much of a man you are. That shit can happen regardless. Stop the bullshit. And then, Steve basically says his fucking cockamamie bullshit, oh, you just not a man. Da, da, da. This motherfucker's a goddamn gigolo for a white bitch. And I said it just like that, you know. So of course, he basically fat white chick, of course. So of course he ain't going nowhere. It's the same thing. That's pretty much the inverse of a black woman with a white dude. Yeah, they value you just in general, so they ain't gonna leave. That's easy. I could find a fat black chick and do that same shit, but that's not what I'm talking about. It's about how do you prepare. It's not necessarily how do you get out of a marriage, scot-free, but how do you really understand it's a business transaction. It's kind of like going into a marriage is like going into a marriage unprepared is a lot like going into any contract. It's like signing a 360 deal. I'm not going to mention a certain type of ethnicity that's associated with money. I'll let you fill in the blanks. But it's like doing that. You can't help but to get fucked. In fact, it's almost a part of Darwinism that you should. But see, because we go into that emotionally, we don't think about that. Or that's something that's not taught. And the fact that he even addressed that, like that's a product that's worth $1,000 right there. If you're serious about getting married. So it's values that's important. And the people that when you hear me say you're accountable who you follow, it's me really saying, do you understand the value? And look, ain't nobody gonna know these people personally, but you can know what evidence is evidence presented. What are the values that these people fulfill? These type of things. And this is what's important. And that's what you should care about. The fucking labels. A brand can be built and not built. Redpill is a brand that people don't control. This is why SYSBM is a specific brand within that. This is why Igmore is a specific brand within that. They usually has specific values. Like, all these things. It's the same thing with the black church. How you have the black church and has a lot of denominations in it. Then you have the Catholic church. And even the Catholic church has this thing. Then you have Quakers. These are brands. And individually, you can have your individual brand. And that's another example of that. This is why, by the way, when people get mad about Tariq Nasheed saying, Tariq Nasheed is splitting up ADOS and he's called. No, he's not. He's basically saying, okay, this is a concern, and I'm going to use in my brand a way to actually address that concern. By saying y'all are being more political and y'all trying to make it sound like it's lineage, but you all are acting like a Democratic arm. And everybody ain't for that shit. That doesn't mean people gotta like Trump, but everybody ain't for excusing Democrats to get Trump out of there. Now, certain people will say you just need to bite the bullet. I've heard BGS say that. I've actually, Glendon will actually tell you that too. He'll say, they both say that Trump is fucking up the country in an almost unrecoverable way. Like I said, you get the truth, what people really think. I know I've talked more about Glendon and Jason Black, but it's kind of heir apparent where Jason Black stand on these things. Because then that's going to go more into what something is and what something is not. And I really don't give a shit about that. People know what that is and what it is not, and people that are in the know that need to know it is. But what I'm saying for people that may not be experts on what red pill, blue, all this bullshit is, what it comes down to is what do you value? At the end of the day, I value a man having absolute control over his own destiny and decision he makes. I believe in the fair reciprocation between individuals. What that means is, I was raised the same way you all was raised when it comes to how women should be treated. But if a woman doesn't act like a woman and a woman acts like a bitch, if a woman acts like a woman, she will be treated like a woman. If a woman acts like a bitch, she will be treated like a bitch. It's really if a woman acts like a hoe, she will be treated like a hoe. And that's not necessarily mean that if a woman's a hoe, that means I can do anything and everything with her. No, that's not what that means. But what that does mean is I'm not going to look at a woman that I know to be a hoe as wife material. That's what that means. I treat anybody with human decency, and this is what manners are for. If you show manners, you get manners, regardless of what the fuck you do. But if I'm sitting here engaging in a sugar daddy situation or something like that, and I'm young, so I don't really have to do that. But you get what I'm saying. I'm not going to engage in that same kind of arrangement the same way I would engage in somebody that I might seriously thinking about courting and building a legacy with. It's the same reason, like you don't, you treat your employees differently than you treat your friends. Duh. And these things should be obvious and heir apparent, but they're not. So anyway, I definitely support. If you all don't know, it doesn't matter really what I think, but I'm just saying I definitely support him even saying, he is not red pill, he is not MGTOW. First of all, most black men don't even agree with MGTOW anyway because they associate MGTOW with not fucking. Even though that's not what it is what it is. That's a part of branding. And like I said, when you go to his channel is Disruptive Male. And, obviously it should be Aaron Parrott and what the damn definition is just based on the verbiage. Damn, that's a good brand. It really is. And you all should support it. And shout out to Mr. Research. Because Mr. Research had the Wolf Way, which is another way of getting away from the red pill. Because the thing, it's not about people creating brands because they're trying to monetize something, but they want to infuse who they are into what they do. And they don't want all this other thing that people hear. Because people hear red pill, they're going to think certain things. Automatic. Because that's going to be based on what they know. Now that shit's on Netflix and all of that, people are going to think certain things based on their emotionality to it. It doesn't matter. Just like when you think Tea Party, you think certain shit. Doesn't matter. You think anti-Obama immigrant, all the shit that comes with that. Doesn't matter what faction, what brigade. You think Alphabet, it doesn't matter. You already have things. That's the power of brands. That's the power of seeing images. So at the end of the day, you need to look for what values that you care about, what values these people reflect. Can they get you where you need to go? And do what you need to do. With that said, I want y'all to have I know this is me being like, I wanted to put that out there. I wanted to have kind of a reflective thing. Going into next year, you're going to see a lot of critical shit. Oh, what's up, Erica? Well, what I'm mentioning when I say Keanu Reeves, Erica, is the fact that Keanu Reeves doesn't, number one, he has a girlfriend and is not married. So that still kind of fulfills what I'm talking about. But number two, Keanu Reeves has this thing where he doesn't touch women. Like, he doesn't hug them. Like, the way he does stuff, it's interesting. People are talking about that. Oh, Erica said in the South, we call that certified bachelor. It was the equivalent to a spinster. Well, Erica, it's different because a woman's, I know you're not going to want to hear this, and this is something that Jason Black has said, so it is what it is. But a woman's value is tied more to a man than a man's value is tied to a woman. Now granted, if you're somebody like, let's say yourself, that obviously you have businesses and there's real actionable shit you can get done, then yeah, you can get around that. But by default, that's how it generally is. So being a man is being a spinster is a little bit different. But I get what you're saying, but it's a little bit different. He said, do you have a manual? Manual for what? No, I ain't got no manual. Why you think I refer these folks to y'all? What's up, Gab? No, I ain't doing a hangout tonight. I don't know. I do impromptu shit. Yeah, you have to. Oh, well, that proximity shit is real too. Yeah, that's something that's good. You really do. And by the way, a good example, I'm gonna end this with this tip. Here's a good example of how you put together around maybe potential black people that's really about their shit. I'm gonna give you two. Meetup.com is one of them. Where you go to Meetup, get that app. That's one of the best apps you can get is Meetup, the Meetup app. Because people have meetups and hangouts about a variety of topics and things, sports, whatever. But that's not even the main thing. When you hear those flip this house things with people like either the damn Robert Kiyosaki shit, the flip this house thing where people want to do house flipping, go to those things. The first ones are, and get some business cards. Get some business cards. Get something that it makes it easy for people to contact you and whatever. and go to those things, I would even pay the $100 to go to the next level. And you will always see people that's either got retirement, they got money, and they're looking to do something. And that's a good people that you can network with. Not necessarily trying to get money out of them immediately, but networking with. You'd be surprised how many black people go to that stuff, at least in North Carolina. Another thing I recommend you go, these are easy things. Obviously, conferences and stuff like that you should go to. You should pay the investment to go. Shout out to Sub-Zero. He went to a conference. I know Erica would like to hear this. I remember I was talking to Sub-Zero how excited he was that he went. Dude lives in Atlanta, right? He went to a conference, an internet marketing conference. I don't know what it was, but it wasn't the bigger ones. But it had a lot of black people there. It wasn't specifically for black people though. And he was just amazed at how many black men, black women were making. And he interviewed some of these people. You go to his video, you'll see this channel. You'll see it if you go down maybe like 2, 3, 4 months ago. He was interviewing people that were making like 50, 60, 70, 100, over $100,000 a month. Not a year, a month. Black women, black men, some of them in e-commerce, some of them in different things, via the internet. And it just, when I heard how excited he was about it, because, you know, I deal with the internet and stuff, but if I throw certain numbers at it, certain people, you got to kind of see that for yourself to really believe it. And just the excitement out of seeing black people and stuff like that. And by the way, on the low, Sub-Zero has made a lot of money when it comes to that IT class, as far as him giving value for that. And if you look at like his website and stuff, it just shows you that if you want to do it, you can make it happen. That's what I'm talking about. And yeah, so conference, you can never go wrong with conferences. And you shouldn't even look to just network with black people. Dude, in this world, you got to get it done. You can't wait for nobody. So that's where you got to put the woke shit down and get your business thing up. You know, you need to fuck with anybody that's willing to fuck with you. And this is why when people come at Tariq or Jason about having white people do the camera work and shit, when you got to get something done, you got to get something done. No fucking, oh, well, you know, you get Jewish people to fucking help you make your video. Shut the fuck up. Like when people say that shit, because this is coming from somebody that's never had to actually create something from fucking start to finish, Dr. Umar Johnson. You got to deal with people that's fucking ready. And yeah, down the road, if you want to develop an infrastructure to do shit to where you can keep it in, you do that. But that's not something that's not the 1.0, 2.0, 3.0 all the time. You got to put shit together. And you got to fuck with people that's willing to fuck with you. And you got to realize that certain people are willing to fuck with you that maybe others aren't. You got to understand that sometimes if they can get a better deal somewhere else, they may. Too many times, a lot of times when black people do that, like they may be on the other side of that and they deal with a diversity of people, they don't understand those people have their own loyalties. There's difference between dealing with one person and dealing with people individually and dealing with people as a group. Those are two different things. And a lot of times black people don't know how to really make that switch. They really don't. They don't see that dynamics with that. But those are two really quick examples. Captain Cisco, I'll put some videos out here of some stuff. Like Sub-Zero's got some stuff on that. But Erica, like so this is a Southern Standard certified bachelor, okay? And you're from the South. I'm not. So I'm going with what you're saying. You said single by choice, or gay, or just never married. It included a range. But see, here's the thing. I would say bachelor. Well, I get all that, so that's the definition, but I would segment that because I don't want to be associated. See, thank you for saying that, because this is a perfect example of what I'm talking about. So why would I want to be associated with something that could mean that I'm gay? You see what I'm saying? So if you hear that, so I'm like, so what's the term for somebody that you, like, there should be, I'm not saying, well, I'm just saying, there should be a different term between somebody that was never married, somebody that was married and then got divorced, and then they're just doing their own thing right now, and then somebody that's gay. Gay should be gay. Because then you got a lot of dudes that they're not gay, but they operate on more of a metro kind of thing, and then they will always be skewed that way. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I'm glad you said that, because that's a perfect example of the title of this video. So it's the same thing with Redpill. When you say Redpill, Ain't nobody thinking about necessarily black conservative. Ain't nobody thinking about, they're thinking about a whole bunch of shit based on how they internalize the information. And usually that's based on what the mainstream says. And when you look at shit like where YouTube is going and shit like that, you know what I'm saying? That of course you want to be disassociated with some shit like that. Especially if, but the thing is, the values, and I'm not even saying, well, the values are really red pill. That's not what I'm saying. Black people, black men really don't give a shit about red pill, blue pill, black pill, ultimately. They're looking at how can they enhance, the ones that are looking at how can they enhance the quality of life and outcomes, and that is born out of the type of things that they look at. Black men are not really as hung up on the labels as like a black woman would be hung up on being a feminist or some shit like that. It's really not. So at the end of the day, I don't have to walk around and say, oh, you red pill, oh, you ain't red pill, so that means there may be some bullshit. No, I can take the meat and spit out the bones. If it's something I disagree with, I mean, like for instance, Jason Black talks mad shit. If you look, he's got 2 videos where he talks about black men in travel, and it ain't nothing good. I wouldn't even give y'all those videos, because that motherfucker goes in on that shit. And I don't agree with none of the shit he fucking talking about that. But he does. But that doesn't define me about him. It's okay, you don't like that. I don't agree with none of the shit he talking about. Because I think a lot of that is just code for trying to keep. I think it's code for keeping. It's the same thing what he said on his Facebook. He said, I don't see black men, actual black men, telling black women, black men to date out. I just see losers and motherfuckers on the internet. That's a lie. Because if that was true, then why is it that the top 10% or the 92s and all that are main motherfuckers talking that shit about black men wanting to date out? Why is that? Why do black women get triggered if that's just broke niggas or losers on the fucking internet? Now, are there losers on the internet saying that? Okay, yeah. But that's not who black women really give a shit about. That's not what they're getting up in arms on the internet about. Patterson is not a fucking loser. He's an apex economic dude. So, yeah, that is true, but that's not really, you know what I'm saying? You kind of know that's intellectually dishonest because that fits a certain narrative. And by the way, shout out, I see Gab in the chat. Shout out to Gab, because this is exactly what he was trying to talk about when he was talking about folks fitting narratives and the shit. Rob, that used to happen. It was interesting. American Horror Story, the cult season, actually explored that gay men getting married as a cover. But I don't think that happens as much. I don't know, but I wouldn't think that happens as much anymore because there's no need now. Okay, look, this is a conversation. I'm not sitting there saying I'm right, you wrong. Who was that talking about my car? Nobody was talking about my car. What are you talking about? No, absolutely. So I'm just, and it is, you know, I don't know. I ain't even hear nobody. I don't know what the fuck y'all talking about. But anyway. Oh, okay. I thought somebody was trying to low key talk shit about me. Yeah, I'm right in front of Walmart. So I'm about to go in here. Yeah, man, they working these motherfuckers today. They got cops out here and everything. They ready. Okay, no, absolutely. Because I don't know all the nuances of southern shit. So I'm not gonna tell nobody what something is. Shout out to Roberto Blake, by the way. That's another black dude y'all should definitely follow, especially if y'all want to get an overall like content creator and stuff like that, and how to make money with that. But he does it from a creative standpoint, and just an overall good dude with good content. So I would love to see Erica interview him one day. That's another thing. We need to start getting these fucking Cash App things so we can start getting some of these motherfuckers interviewed. But anyway, All right, yeah, but my point is that still is a different situation from somebody like a heterosexual thing. So that's a perfect point as to why you would want to separate yourself from that. And by the way, with these cuts coming from I mean, BGS said it. He said all the stuff he talked about, like what are the benefits that he gets from it. Yeah, he gets support, but 30,000 followers just as valid. I mean, you know, you get what I'm saying. Shout out to you, Marty. So anyway, I just wanted to put that out there. Definitely look at this video. Definitely subscribe to this channel. But I wanted to give understanding to that, man. It's about the values that people have, and do those. And there is no red pill values or blue pill values. You know, it's about what's in your best interest. Because at the end of the day, that's what black men are talking about. Black men are really talking about being unapologetically in your best interest, and that is very radical. I'm not saying, oh, look, well, you know, fuck women. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, you know, the women that deal with you, like, we're not even talking about dealing with you, oh, you're a black woman and I'm a black man, so we should work it. No, I'm talking, they're dealing with you on a, you know, human level. When it comes to business or whatever, they'll be fine. It'll be cool. You know, but when you got motherfuckers that they want to operate on a you a peasant shit, they're going to have a problem because they're on bullshit. We know this is why I got like people in my chat, women, like as far as moderate, they don't have a problem with the shit I say because they know what the fuck time it is. It's not that hard. Yeah, I mean, I understand that, Erica. I mean, I get it. I mean, my thing, and I agree with Jada Black on this. Jada Black said he should have just not said shit. I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, you're an NBA player. They can't touch your money. You should have just blocked the motherfucker, or you should have just canceled the post, and it is what it is. Who gives a fuck? Like, why do you even give a fuck about what people think? I mean, you had to know that going in. I mean, I'm not saying people have a right to give an opinion on him. I would say that just as much as I would say somebody has a right to tell Alfred Woodard about who she been with. But at the end of the day, you know how it is. Stop acting like you don't know. But I'm gonna tell you this, in my opinion with Patterson, this is what I would say. I don't know him, I don't know his situation, but I always say this: do not go quote unquote red pill for black women and only be blue pill for non-black women. It's not, and I don't give a fuck about you putting people on a pedestal or saying some shit and then how people feel about that. What I'm saying is for you, because a lot black men can get, like Dame Dash and Rachel Roy is a perfect situation. Every black man should understand the Dame Dash Rachel Roy dynamic. Because dudes be thinking shit can't happen, nigga shit can't happen with non-niggas. And they don't understand that a lot of these folks see you as a mark. And a lot of black women see you as a mark. But the thing is, there is no, black people got to realize there is no absolute safe zone. There is not. And folks got to stop believing that. Too many black people, and I'm going to speak specifically to black men, they look for these safe zones. They look for these zones where they feel that they're safe and that they can just, nothing is going to happen. Unfortunately, there is no safe spot like that. Not like that, where you just don't gotta worry and you can just be stupid and be a free little bird. No, because somebody's gonna get your ass. Shout out to I forget what his name is, Childish Gambino with This Is America. That's really what that shit was about. Like, before you know, I was just looking at this show Treadstone, and it's these Africans on there, and you gotta see it. It's a funny. It's not funny, but it is funny to me. So whatever. But anyway. Oh yeah, I heard about that. I don't give a fuck about that fat bitch. All the shit she be talking, you know. I don't care. I hate to say it like that, but it is what it is. What is he doing? Anyway, I'll catch y'all like this is Edward signing off. Peace. Gotta deal with this.